Welcome to lecture 16. My name is Professor J. N. Mandal, Department of Civil Engineering, Indian Institute of Technology, Bombay, Mumbai, India. The name of the course Geosynthetics Engineering in Theory and Practice. This is Module 4, Lecture 16, Geosynthetics for Filtration, Drainage and Erosion Control System. Recap of previous lecture, we covered introduction, mechanism of filtration function, geosynthetics filtration and drainage criteria, geosynthetics drainage application and subsurface drainage. Now, we will cover some example that let us say site condition, less critical condition, stone ripped up slope protection with geotextile needed. Step 1, determine the grain size distribution of the soil. Forward you can find out D60 0.18, D10 0.040, D85 0.40, D15 0.05. So, you can obtain this all these parameter from the grain size distribution curve of the soil. Step 2, you have to calculate that retention criteria. You can calculate Cu, that is D60 by D10. You know what is the D60 is 0.18, D10 0.04, so Cu is equal to 4.5. And from the criteria, that is Cu greater than 4 or less than 8, then B will be 8 by Cu. So, here Cu is 4.5, so 8 by Cu is 8 by 4.5 is equal to 1.78. So, B into D85 will be 1.78, that is B is 1.78, that is 1.78 into D85, D85 is 0.40, so it is 0.712 millimeter. So, for retention criteria in the steady flow condition to be satisfied, if the apparent opening size of the geotextile or O95 less than equal to 0.712 millimeter. Step 3, to determine the permeability criteria. So, you can adopt that coefficient of permeability of the soil, K soil is equal to D10 square, and D10 value is known 0.04 into square. This is equal to 1.6 into 10 to the power minus 3 centimeter per second. For less critical and less severe application, K of geotextile should be greater than equal to 1 of K of soil. So, therefore, K geotextile is greater than equal to 1.6 10 to the power minus 3 centimeter per second. Step 4, determine the permittivity criteria. For percent in situ passing 0.075 millimeter sheet or less than 15%. So, from the ASTO T88 you can have the permittivity psi would be greater than equal to 0.5 per second. Step 5, you have to selection of the drainage aggregate. So, range of coefficient of permeability Ks of the material of defined sizes is given. If it is a coarse gravel and size 20 to 63 millimeter, the permeability will be 5 into 10 to the power minus 1 meter per second. Is medium gravel, if the size 6.3 to 20 millimeter, then 10 to the power minus 1 meter per second. Fine gravel size is 2 to 6.3, permeability will be 5 10 to the power minus 2 meter per second. If it is a coarse sand, the grain size is 0.63 to 2 millimeter, then permeability Ks will be 1 to 10 to the power minus 2 meter per second. So, step 6 is determine the clogging criteria. For less critical, less severe condition, O95 geotextile should be greater than 3 D15 soil. For is greater than 3, which we have already discussed. So, based on this, you can calculate that what is Cu. So, here Cu is 4.5, so it is greater than 3. Therefore, O95 greater than 3 into D15, that is 3 into D15 value is given 0.05, it should be greater than equal to 0.15 millimeter. And non-open geotextile porosity greater than equal to 50%, open geotextile percent OP area is greater than equal to 5%. Now, designing for filtration, geosynthetic can effectively perform the filtration function in different civil engineering application like retaining wall, pavement, erosion control and sill fence, etc. In a conventional rigid concrete retaining wall, water can pass through the vertical drainage layer to the under drain system or weep holes, and consequently development of the hydrostatic pressure behind the retaining wall can be reduced. However, drainage sand layer can become clogged after a passage of time, causing the wall to collapse due to the generation of high hydrostatic pressure. The problem can be overcome by providing geosynthetics behind the reinforced concrete wall or using gabion wall consisting of one basket filled with the stone of 100 millimeter size. Geosynthetics designed for the filtration. The major criteria for the filtration is the cross plane permeability and apparent opening size of geosynthetics. So, what are the steps? Step 1, first of all you draw the flow net behind the retaining wall to determine the quantity of flow using the following equation. You know that Q is equal to K into delta H into NF by ND. For example, that if it is a wall, so you do not know what quantity of water can flow pass through this, you are providing this geotextile material here. So, you can draw the flow line, you can draw the equipotential line. So, you can count what is the number of the flow line, what will be the number of the equipotential line. So, from the flow line and the equipotential line, you can calculate what should be the Q value. That means, you know Q is equal to K into delta of H into NF divided by N of D. You do not know that what will be the, if the rain water comes from this, then first of all you should know in that locality what should be the quantity of flow water passes through this geosynthetic material. What here Q is equal to flow rate, that is meter cube per second meter, K is coefficient of permeability of the soil meter per second, and this delta H is equal to head loss in meter, NF is the number of flow line and ND is the number of the potential line. So, you can calculate from this flow net, this is flow net diagram. Okay. From this flow net diagram, so you can calculate what should be the quantity of water can pass through that. Now, second, you have to determine the required permittivity or cross plane permeability, because you know that when water passes perpendicular or across the plane of the candidate geosynthetics, it is called permittivity or cross plane permeability. You can see this figure shown concept of cross plane permeability, which we have discussed earlier. Okay. So, from this you can calculate the permittivity with this equation, that is permittivity is equal to Kn by Tg Q by A into delta H, which we have already discussed, and A is equal to area of geosynthetics, which is W into L. A is area of geosynthetics, that is W, okay, and into that L. This is L, this is W. So you can remember this equation, permittivity, that is psi is equal to Kn by Tg is equal to Q by A into delta H. We have derived earlier, and from that you can slope representation of the permittivity, which we have covered. Now step 3, determine the ultimate permittivity of geosynthetics, that is pi psi ultimate from the laboratory test. This is from the laboratory test. So this is constant head method. You can determine permittivity psi is equal to Kn by Tg Q by A into delta H. So this is from laboratory, you can calculate, which we have derived earlier. Also by falling head method, this is also laboratory set. From that also you can determine permittivity psi, that is Kn by Tg is equal to psi is equal to 2.3 A small a divided by A capital A into delta T log 10 H0 by Hf. A small a is the area of the standpipe, capital A is equal to area of the geotextile, and delta T is time change between H0 to Hf. This also we have already covered. Now step 4, determine the allowable permittivity of geosynthetics psi allowable using the following equation in case of flow related problem, Koenen 1995, because you know what will be the ultimate permittivity. So you have to calculate the allowable permittivity, that is psi allowable. So psi allowable is equal to psi ultimate value divided by cumulative reduction factor. Now this cumulative reduction factor depends upon the type of application. If it is applicable for the retaining wall, then all the cumulative reduction factor, like that your reduction factor for the creep, reduction factor for insulation damage, reduction factor for biological degradation, reduction factor for clogging, reduction factor for the blinding, all these factors we have to be taken into consideration for the design. Then you have to find out what should be the cumulative reduction factor. Now these retaining, for the retaining wall, cumulative reduction factors are different for the erosion control, pavement, landfill, gravity drainage, and the pressure is drain. So if I to adopt that reduction factor, and you know what will be the ultimate value, and then you can calculate what will be the allowable permittivity value. Now step 5, you have to determine the factor of safety. Factor of safety will be equal to allowable permittivity of candidate geosynthetics divided by required permittivity of candidate geosynthetics. You know what is allowable permittivity of the candidate geosynthetics, and you know what will be the requirement permittivity of candidate geosynthetics. Then you check the what will be the factor of safety. Step 6, if the factor of safety is adequate, the candidate geosynthetics is acceptable. Otherwise, you try a different candidate geosynthetics material. So sometimes if the one layer of geosynthetics is not sufficient, you have to provide 2 layer, 3 layer, 4 layer. So instead of that, you can go for the geocomposite material, geonet material, instead of the number of the layer of the single geosynthetics material. Step 7, determine all parameters such as effective diameter of the soil, D10 is millimeter, coefficient of uniformity of the soil, Cu, coefficient of permeability of the soil, that is in meter per second, relative density of the soil, that is Dr in percentage, and D85, that is in millimeter from gain size distribution curve of the site specific soil. So from the gain size distribution curve, you can determine all these parameters. Step 8, check the required apparent opening size of the candidate geosynthetics, that means AOS or O95 required to prevent the soil loss based on the soil retention criteria. Now there are 4 methods can be used for soil retention criteria. One, Task Force 25 1991, Carroll method 1983, Giroud method 1982, and Louet ETL 1992. Carroll method can be used for non-critical cases, whereas Giraud method can be used for critical case. So, what is the task force ASTO 1991? A, for particle less than equal to 50% passing the number 200 SIP, that is 0.075 millimeter, O95 should be greater than number 30 SIP, that is 0.60 millimeter. B, for particle greater than 50% of passing the number 200 SIP, then O95 greater than equal to number 50 SIP, that is 0.30 millimeter. This is very important. So, when you can see from the Ghenside distribution curve whether the particle less than 50% passing the number 200 SIP or the particle greater than 50% passing the 200 SIP. Based on that, from the task force 25, you can determine what is O95. If it is a less than 50%, then O95 is 0.60 millimeter, what you require. If it is a greater than 50%, then O95 should be 0.30 millimeter. So, this is given by the task force. Now, Carroll method 1983, this method can be used for non-critical case. This is O95 less than 2 or 3 of D85. That is O95 less than 2.5 into D85. D85 is the particle size and percentage final of 80%, 85%. So, if you know 85%, so you can directly determine what will be the apparent opening size or O95 by the Carroll method. Now, this is Giroud method 1982. So, the required apparent opening size of the geotextile varies from the different relative density of soil. You can see if it is a type of soil, relative density of the soil dr, and this is the linear coefficient of uniformity of the soil Cu. So, from the Ghenside distribution curve you can determine what is Cu. Now, if it is a type of soil loose granular soil, relative density dr less than 50% and Cu value is greater than 1 less than 3, then O95 should be less than Cu into D50. So, from the Ghenside distribution curve, first of all you check that what will be the value of Cu, whether Cu greater than 1 less than 3, then you substitute this value Cu, and then from the Ghenside distribution curve you know what is D50. So, then you will be knowing what will be the O95. Now, if the Cu value is greater than 3, then O95 should be less than 9 D50 divided by Cu. Next, if it is a medium granular soil where relative density less than 80% and Cu greater than 1 and less than 3, then O95 should be less than 1.5 Cu into D50. And if Cu greater than 3, then O95 should be less than 13.5 D50 divided by Cu. If it is a dense granular soil, that means relative density greater than 80% and Cu greater than 1 less than 3, so O95 should be less than 2 into Cu into D50. And if Cu greater than 3, so O95 should be less than 18 into D50 into Cu. And plasticity index is lesser than 5. So, you know the Ghenside distribution curve, and from the Ghenside distribution curve you can determine what is Cu, you can determine what is D50. So, if you know that Cu value and also the relative density value, then from this table you can calculate that what is O95. Our target is O95, what is apparent opening size of the geotextile or the equivalent opening size of the geotextile. So, from this chart also you can calculate the O95. So, this is the Lithius ETL 1992 soil retention criteria geotextile filter design under steady state flow condition. So, this is only I am just explaining this part. If that depend upon the value of the Cu, whether it is a well graded or less well graded, then you can see this value of the Cu. Accordingly, then depending upon the density, okay, of the soil, then there is a also relationship between the Cu and the D, defined value of D value. So, whether it is a loose or medium or dense, so accordingly like that Zeroth method, so you can also determine what should be the O95 value. And if this is C value is less than 3, then also it is a loose condition, medium or the high density or relative density, then accordingly you can also calculate that what will be the O95. It is almost that similar like that Zeroth chart. So, you can adopt this chart, Zeroth chart for the steady state flow condition. He also established also another for the another curve, and this curve for dynamic flow condition. You can see this also he has mentioned the dynamic flow condition. So, this dynamic flow condition also you can calculate that what will be the O95. Whether it is a severe wave attack, then O95 should be less than D of 50. If it is a mild water current, then you can see Cu greater than 5 and O95 less than 2.5 into D50 and O95 less than equal to D90. And if the Cu less than 5, then D50, O95 greater than D50 or less than D90. And also it depends upon severity condition, whether it is the less than the 10% of the silt and more than 10% of the sand, and also D10 should be greater than 0.07 millimeter and D10 less than 4.8 millimeter, and for the more than 90% of the gravel, D10 greater than 4.8. And as you know that you can calculate the Cu D60 by D10. So, for the soil retention criteria or geotextile filter design under dynamic flow condition, this is given after Research ETL 1992. So, he has given the two charts, one for the steady state flow condition, another for the dynamic flow condition. Now, step 9, determine the allowable apparent opening size of the geotextile from the laboratory SIP test. So, from the laboratory test you can determine what is O95. Then step 10, determine the factor of safety geosynthetics against apparent opening size. That means factor of safety will be equal to O95 required and O95 actual. Then step 11, if the factor of safety is not adequate, that means opening size of the candidate geosynthetics is larger enough and fail to retain the soil. You can try with the another candidate of geosynthetics material. It must satisfy the permittivity and the soil retention criteria. Step 12, clogging criteria, that means long term flow compatibility. So, this is go for gradient ratio test or GRT should be conducted and check the gradient ratio value less than equal to 3. In that case, this geosynthetics is free from clogging. Now, some application geosynthetics behind the retaining wall. In a conventional reinforced concrete retaining wall, granular soil is used as a vertical drainage layer to allow the water from backfill soil to under drain or weep or hole. Over the passage of time, sand drain may become excessively clogged due to the retained backfill soil. As a result, excessive hydrostatic pressure build up in the backfill zone, causing the failure of the structure. A layer of geosynthetics filter introduced at the back of the retaining wall will retain the backfill soil and allow only water to filter into the granular drainage layer. Now, you can see that this is the geosynthetics material is placed behind the retaining wall for the filtration. This is the sand layer and there is a weep hole, and you can see that you can draw the flow net. This is equipotential and the flow line, and the geosynthetics here is act as a filtration. The water can pass through the geotextile material and then sanded, then through the weep hole the water can drain it out. So, here it has been shown that how the geosynthetics has been used behind the retaining wall, and we will explain later how to design that. If this how you can also reduce the hydrostatic pressure here. This one gabion wall is made of galvanized wire basket filled with the stone of size 100 millimeter or larger stone. It is flexible wall with this free draining system. It can also require geosynthetic filter at the back. You can see here the geosynthetic material has been placed. If you do not place this geosynthetic material, then soil will be clogged into the gabion, because gabion is filled with the gravel. So, it will be clogged, it will choke. So, that was the reason that you should provide with one layer of geotextile material at the back of the gabion wall. Though the gabion itself is very good flotation or drainage material, the water can pass through easily, but when you are placing with the soil on the back, then the soil may clog onto this wall. So, therefore, it is required to provide a layer of geosynthetic material, and this is the flexible gabion wall with geosynthetics as a filter, and this gabion wall which is a hexagonal wire basket filled with the aggregate. So, you can see that how the geosynthetics is also placed at the back of the gabion wall. Now, 1988 reported the typical hydraulic gradient. If the drainage is for embankment, road and slope etc., the hydraulic gradient will be less than 1. If the drainage is for wall and trenches, the hydraulic gradient will be 1.5. Now, I will present an example. A flexible retaining wall of 4.5 meter height is made of gabion, which consists of 1 meter by 1 meter into 4 meter basket. It rests on a 0.5 meter by 2 meter into 4 meter matrices as shown here, and the back of the gabion retaining wall, a layer of geotextile is placed, and water should percolate through the geotextile through the gabion box, and this gabion box is a basket filled with the stone. So, when we will design, then we should know what should be the quantity of water passes through the gabion. So, you have to draw the number of the flow lines. So, this you can see number of flow lines has been done and number of equipotential line. Let us say the number of flow lines NF is 4 and number of equipotential line ND is equal to 5. And properties of the silty sand is given: particle size of the finer than 85% D85 0.12 millimeter, particle size finer than 50% is equal to D50 is equal to 0.06 millimeter, effective particle size D10 is equal to 0.02 millimeter, relative density RD is 85%, coefficient of uniformity Cu is equal to 2.7, coefficient of permeability of the soil K is equal to 0.0065 meter per second. Candidate geotextile, we are considering here the non-woven needle punched geotextile. And properties of the non-woven needle punch geotextile: apparent opening size AOS is 0.25 millimeter, permittivity of geotextile psi is equal to 1.1 per second, and cumulative reduction factor RF is equal to 12. So, we have to check that whether this non-woven needle punch geotextile material is suitable or not. Now solution, when you will solve this kind of the problem, there are two stages of design. One is flow factor of safety, the other is the retention criteria, that means what should be the opening size of geotextile and what will be the ultimately flow factor of safety. So step 1, we will calculate the what will be the actual flow rate. As I mentioned you earlier, that you draw the flow net diagram and calculate the NF and ND here. This is the flow net diagram, and we calculated what will be the number of flow line here 4 and number of equipotential line 5. So we know NF, ND. K value is given, K soil is given 0.0065 meter per second and delta H is 4.5, NF we know 4, ND 5. So if we substitute this value, that Q will be 0, K is equal to 0.0065 into delta H is equal to 4.5, NF is equal to 4 and ND is equal to 5. So ultimately Q will be the 0.0234 meter cube per second per meter. Now step 2, what is required permittivity of geotextile, which is psi required. So psi required, you know this equation, Kn by Tg, Q by delta H into Al, and here is flow Q, already we have calculated earlier 0.0234 meter cube per second per minute, and Kn is coefficient of permeability normal to this geotextile, and delta H is equal to hydraulic gradient, that is 4.5, Tg is equal to thickness of the geotextile, and Al is thickness, Al is area of geotextile per meter length. That means that is 4.5 into 1, that is 4.5 into 1 meter square. So now if you substitute this value, then you can calculate what is psi required. Psi required is equal to Q is known 0.02345 and delta H is 4.5 and area of geotextile per meter length 4.5 into 1. So if you calculate, you can determine that what should be the required permittivity of the geotextile, that is psi required is 1.16 into 10 to the power minus 3 per second. Step 3, allowable permittivity of geotextile. So this is psi ultimate is given in the problem 1.1 per second. So what will be the allowable geotextile permittivity? So allowable geotextile permittivity will be the ratio of ultimate geotextile permittivity and the reduction factor. So we have considered here the reduction factor is 12. So we can write 1.1 by 12 is 0.092 per second. Now step 4, you have to calculate what is factor of safety. That is factor of safety will be equal to psi allowable by psi required. So psi allowable is 0.092, psi required, which we have calculated earlier, psi required is this 1.16 into 10 to the power minus 3, that means 0.000116, that is equal to 78.44. So this is okay. So this is one that flow related criteria. Now step 5, that we have to be taken care for the opening size of the geosynthetic material. That means what should be the retention criteria. So these criteria also should satisfy. So as it is not a critical, apply the Carlos criteria, that Carlos had given that apparent opening size of the geotextile O95 should be less than 2.5 into D85. Now O95 is given 0.25 millimeter. So 2.5 into D85. So, D85 also given, that is 0.12. So, 2 into D85 means 2.5 into 0.12 is 0.3 millimeter, and O95 you can see 0.25 millimeter, that should be less than 2.5 into D85. So, 2.D85 is having 0.3 millimeter. So, this is less than this. Therefore, soil retention criteria also satisfied. So, we have designed the gabion geotextile when you use in the back of the wall, gabion wall. Now, geosynthetics filter around under drain in a highway, when generally the crushed stone or you can say uniform or the graded soil filter around the perforated pipe under drain is used. Generally, the crushed stone and or perforated pipe are conveniently used as under drain for filtration in highway, railway and airfield. However, after a passage of time, the under drain system become clogged due to the seepage of water through native soil to the crushed stone. Therefore, layer of geosynthetics surround the stone or aggregate are to be provided to protect the aggregate from soil contamination. Some application of geosynthetics in under drain without and with perforated pipe also are shown here. You can see here, this is the conventional aggregate drain with perforated pipe. You can see this you excavate, fill up with the aggregate, and this is the pipe that is optional, and then on the top of this it is the native soil. So, there is a possibility for clogging or choking, because the native soil is directly come in contact with the aggregate. So, after a passage of time it will choke. Therefore, it is preferable that you should provide a geosynthetics, this red color geosynthetics around the aggregate with perforated pipe. That is optional. You can provide perforated pipe, or it is not necessary to provide the perforated pipe. Here geosynthetics around aggregate with perforated pipe, and here geosynthetics wrap around aggregate without pipe. The pipe is optional. So, when you are providing this pipe, when you are providing the geosynthetic material, then the soil will not clogged, because this geosynthetic material act as a separation, at the same time it act as a good drainage and the filtration material. Now, some use of geosynthetics in pavement under drain. This is the soil subgrade, and this is the stone base, this is the pavement, this portion is the soldier, and this is the drainage part. You can see we can provide with the crushed stone or aggregate, and this is wrapped with the geotextile material, and this is perforated pipe, and this perforated pipe is optional. So, whenever rain water will percolate through the pavement to the stone base, and then it passes through this drain. So, there should not be any clogging. This also, this another system what you can use for the pavement. This is the bitumen course, this is the aggregate base, and this is the geotextile layer. You can see that geotextile layer is placed like this, and like this, and aggregate drainage layer is placed, and here is a pipe, that is the optional. Here geosynthetic material act as a two function. One, that water can flow along this plane of the geotextile material, which we call the transmittivity, and one that water can pass across this plane of the geotextile material, which is called the filtration, or which we call also transmittivity. Now, this is also similar type. You can see the flexible wearing surface is here, geotextile overlay if it is required, and this is the backfill, and this is the filtered gravel material, this is geotextile material, this is the drain pipe, and the slot is on the upper half, and this is the subgrade, and this is the subgrade with the fine. So, when water also can percolate through this, also you can provide this kind of the drainage system. Now, in case of drainage, how to install the geosynthetic material. So, installation procedure of geosynthetics in under drain. This is first that you require excavate the subgrade soil to form a required size of a trench as shown. You excavate and form a required type of the zone. I will just show you the sequential procedure for under drain construction with geosynthetic material. So, next you can place the geosynthetics such as there should not be any void space behind the geosynthetics. Avoid any kind of folding or wrinkling on the geosynthetics. So, you are placing this geosynthetic material like that. So, there should not be any wrinkling, there should not be development into void. And next, step 3, you place the granular aggregate at the bottom of the trench as a bedding layer up to minimum 10 centimeter height before the placement of perforated pipe or collected pipe if required. So, here you can see that this is the bedding layer 10 centimeter, and then this is the prefabricated perforated pipe. Then step 4, remaining portion of the trench should be filled with granular material under proper compaction. So, this is remaining portion you have to fill up with the granular material to the required depth. So, this aggregate is filled up here. Now, step 5, generally that compaction is done by the vibratory equipment. The minimum compaction should be 95% standard factor. Step 5, when compaction is over to the required depth of the trench, overlap the geosynthetics on the top of the granular material, and the minimum overlap should be 30 centimeter to 60 centimeter for drain. The overlap help to protect the drainage aggregate from surface contamination. You can see here this is geosynthetic material is wrapped on the top here, and then the remaining part minimum 30 centimeter of the trench should immediately be filled with loosely excavated material and compacted. So, here this loosely soil this is on the top, here to the loosely soil is to be the filled it up. So, it is preferable not to expose the geosynthetics to sunlight, dirt or any kind of drainage. Geosynthetics will prevent the soil from migrating into the aggregate while allow the water to flow. As transmittivity of open graded stone is adequate, there is no need for a perforated pipe in the drainage system. Now, I am showing second example. A geotextile filter is provided around the under drain in a highway. So, this is the subgrade, this is the stone base, this is the pavement, this is the topsoil, and this is the drain, this is with B, this height of the drain H, and this red is geotextile material, and this is the crushed stone and perforated pipe under drain, that is optional, and this is delta H. So, this is geocentric area around highway under drain. Now, size of the drain is 350 millimeter by 550 millimeter. That means this B 350 millimeter and height H 550 millimeter, and delta H is 500 millimeter. That means this delta H is 500 millimeter. Now, we should know that what should be the soil property. So, coefficient of curvature Cc is 1.8, coefficient of uniformity Cu is 4, particle size finer than 50%, D50 is 0.03 millimeter, relative density Rd is equal to 75%. These are the soil property, and geotextile property is given. Apparent opening size AOS is 0.20 millimeter, and ultimate flow Q ultimate is equal to 12 meter cube per day per meter. Permittivity value psi is given 1.2 per second, and cumulative reduction factor RF is equal to 20. So, now solution, you have to fulfill the permittivity criteria. So, step 1, calculate the required permittivity. That means permittivity psi required. Psi required is equal to Kn by Tg, that is Q by delta H into L. We know the equation. Q value is given 12, delta H value is given 0.5, and AL is equal to 0.35 into 1, because AL is equal to 0.35 into 1. Okay. And then you calculate the what is required permittivity, that is 68.57 per day, or is equal to 0.00079 per second. And Q is maximum flow rate coming from the top aggregate, that we take 12 meter cube per day meter. As you know, delta H already I mentioned 0.5, area also geotextile length is this meter square. Step 2, calculate the allowable permittivity of geotextile, and that is given psi ultimate 1.2 per second. So, psi allowable will be 1.2 divided by reduction factor, and reduction factor given 20. So, this will be equal to 1.2 by 20 is 0.06 per second. Then step 3, factor of safety. So, factor of safety is the ratio of psi allowable by psi required. So, factor of safety is psi allowable 0.06, and psi required we have calculated earlier 0.0079. So, psi required 0.00079. So, this factor of safety is 75.96 is okay. It is quite on the hard side of the factor of the safety. Now, you have to check the retention criteria. That means step 5, you have to calculate what will be the apparent opening size of the geotextile material, or O95. So, according to the Luchitz 1992 table, under the steady state flow condition, I already been described in my previous lecture, and from that table, so for the relative density 75% and Cu is equal to the 4. So, we can write this equation, you can have this equation, that means O95 should be less than 18 into D50 by Cu. So, what is 18 D50 by Cu? So, 18 D50 means is 0.03 and Cu is equal to 4, and D50 value also it is D50 value also it is given, this is 0.03 millimeter. So, this is substitute this value 0.03, this divided by Cu, Cu is equal to the 4, this is 4. So, we can write 18 into 0.03 divided by 4, that is Cu is equal to 0.135. Now, given the apparent opening size of the geotextile O95 is 0.20. So, therefore, factor of safety 0.135 by 0.2, that means this factor of safety is 0.675. So, in terms of the retention criteria, it is not satisfying, because this value is too low. This is only 0.675, therefore, it is not acceptable. You can see that retention criteria is not satisfying, but flow related criteria it is satisfying. So, you have to check that what kind of the geotextile material should use. So, you can take another geotextile material and also to check that what should be the apparent opening size of the geotextile material. Now, candidate geosynthetics is not acceptable, soil will not be retained as opening size is too big. So, alternative geosynthetics with tight pore structure is needed. As the permittivity factor is too high, tight geosynthetics can reduce the factor of safety for permittivity. Then both permittivity and retention criteria will be satisfied. Similarly, we can apply geosynthetics in the following area, that is geosynthetics as silt fences and geosynthetics beneath the erosion control structure. So, we are to be very careful that whether both the criteria, that is permittivity criteria and at the same time the apparent opening size of the geotextile material and flow related criteria is satisfying or not. If it is satisfied, then it is okay. If it does not satisfy, then you have to adopt some alternative material which can satisfy the criteria. I ended up this lecture today. Please let us hear from you any question. Thanks for listening.